For the majority of my life, I was insecure and people treated me differently. It's like they didn't care what I had to say, they didn't care about my presence. Any social situation, I was hyper analyzing my every move, this constant internal chatter in my mind telling me, oh, I should have done that, oh, I should have said that, oh, what should I do, check my phone, calculator app, weather app. It was like this constant ball and chain holding me back. I wouldn't go talk to the cute girl, and despite having some guy friends, I never truly felt like one of the boys. But perhaps worst of all, these limitations were holding me back from the very experiences and accomplishments that would, in theory, give me confidence. And of course, my story is nothing special. We're all pretty much programmed to be low confidence or no confidence by mainstream media, because if you're a hyper-confident male, you're seen as toxic or arrogant or a narcissist. We're programmed in our youth, meaning one little social mishap you had when you were a kid could have rewritten the code of your brain to be more insecure for the rest of your life. And since most of society is insecure, if one person tries to shine above the rest, everyone tries to pull them back down like a crab in a bucket. And when you turn to the internet for answers, you get told things like, oh, you just need to dress nicer, you just need to hit the gym, you just need to make more eye contact, you just need to make more money. But who can forget the classic, just fake it till you make it, bro? Which of course I tried, and I quickly realized that that's like donning a mask. If anyone analyzes you whatsoever, they will quickly see through your bullshit, especially women. For some reason, they're extra good at doing that. And it was only when I spent hundreds of days straight cracking open books, learning about psychology, learning about the mind, that I found the actual protocol to unlock true confidence. Just a couple weeks ago, my friend hosted a party, and I knew absolutely zero people attending besides my friend, the host. But really quickly, I was making friends, having conversations, having a great time. And when I was telling one of the people my story, what I do, my upbringing, he was shocked. He was like, I would have never guessed you were like that based on who you are now. You're so well spoken and confident. And it made me realize, yeah, 2 years ago, if you put me in the same situation, I'd be pooping my pants. And now I've realized that true confidence is like a key that unlocks many doors. You know how a janitor would have that one key that can unlock every classroom? True confidence is the key that unlocks all the opportunities. I mean, just think about the high achieving men like Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan, Elon Musk. They've all been criticized by the average person for being delusional, for being arrogant, and yet those very traits, that hyper elite level of confidence, is what caused those men to become above average. Which, by the way, after you go through this transformation and unlock this level of confidence, the average person is going to be intimidated by you because you threaten their ego, because you have something that they will never have, and thus they will be quick to be like, oh, you're too arrogant, yada yada yada. But if you want the biggest lever in attracting girls, and unlocking financial and social opportunities, and just receiving this higher level of respect from people by default. It's crazy how much has changed when I was younger and I would walk into even a gas station and just the way people looked at me or ignored me versus now when I walk into a restaurant, a gas station, anything like that, just the way I carry myself before even uttering a word, people treat me with a higher inherent level of respect. And here are my principles to unlock dangerous levels of confidence as soon as possible, because every day that goes by that you still have this ball and chain dragging you back, you are limiting your potential for essentially everything. But let's get into it. First off, you need to understand the difference between external and internal confidence. Imagine a guy who's really good at chess, and he is in chess club dominating his friend. Pause. In that specific situation, he's feeling good about himself, he's feeling confident, but if you picked him up and plopped him in a gym surrounded by bodybuilders, suddenly he's a little intimidated, he's feeling very insecure about himself. And if you went and take the giant bodybuilder and put him in a chess club, he'll start feeling insecure, he'll start feeling stupid. And then if Sydney Sweeney were to come up and say hi to either of them, they'd both piss themselves. True confidence is 100% internal and remains there regardless of external factors. This is why trying the surface level advice of wear nice clothes, go to the gym, yada yada yada, doesn't do shit long term. This is also why fake it till you make it doesn't work, because you're putting on an act to get external approval from other people instead of actually becoming it, him. But what this really means is that a confidence issue is a subconscious issue, and a subconscious issue is an identity issue. So I want you to imagine being a snail and you have a goal set, and your goal is, I am going to head north. So you start moving, you're slugging along, you're heading north, but you're on a boat, and the boat is sailing south. The boat represents your subconscious mind, whereas the snail and your efforts is just your conscious effort. I mean, you can use all your conscious energy heading north, but at the end of the day, you're gonna fucking end up south, dude. So here are my 3 principles for fixing the broken identity so that you can unlock the true, effortless, high baseline of confidence. Most people don't actually know themselves on a deep level, which means they have zero clarity on their current identity. And when that's the case, you can't really make any long-term changes. Therefore, principle 1 is know thyself. And this does not mean, oh, well, I'm John, I'm an accountant, I have a dog named Spot. I'm talking about peeling back the layers to find the core self-image, the true beliefs that you hold about yourself, which is way different from the beliefs you hold on the surface, which is more a projection of the ego. And a quick way to peel back some layers is to find your core values. What are things that you've always just inherently valued both in people and in life in general? For example, for me, it's always been honesty and freedom. I've always wanted to have my own way of making money. I never liked authority in school. I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to be a slave to debt or an employer or even my own parents or anything like that. I always craved freedom, and a value I've always cared about in others is trust, is honesty. Then what you need to do is look into your past, find any traumatic events, any programming from your parents, anything that would have programmed you to be more insecure, and acknowledge it. That way you separate your current self from that event instead of that event defining who you are now. One of the things for me was growing up, I had a very good friend who was much more popular than me, much better at sports, much more physically fit, attracted more girls, and thus I was always in his shadow. And that created all kinds of unconscious habits in me, like being more quiet, like letting someone else do the talking for me, putting other people on pedestals above myself. And finally, the most crucial part of all this is you need to build the skill of metacognition, which is essentially the ability to think about thoughts, to be aware of awareness. And if that doesn't really make sense, imagine if instead of when thoughts pop up, you're identifying with them, you think it's you narrating everything, you see it, you're not attached to it, and you can decide what to do or to do anything based on that thought or emotion. Imagine how much power that gives you when your subconscious is always trying to feed you these negative thoughts and emotions and get you to act on it, get you to be insecure. So once you develop this skill, you can study what your subconscious is trying to feed you, and thus you will figure out what your true identity is, because like I said, the identity is what commands the subconscious. And the best method to build this skill is a specific type of meditation. I'm not talking about the wooey, you're up in a mountain, you're meditating, you're levitating, you're a monk, you're all these things. I'm talking about building the skill of metacognition through very core principles and actions through the process of meditating. And if you're interested in doing that, I have a free 5-day guided series in the description below that you can grab after this video. Whether you're aware of it or not, you have an ideal version of yourself. This is the version of yourself that is capable of accomplishing all the things you want in life. It has all the good habits you desire. It has all the positive traits you desire, including high levels of confidence. And the thing is, you are not that. You are the current self. You are the current identity that we are working to find. And understand that most of your insecurity stems from the fact that there is a gap, a distance between your current self and your ideal self. And the longer you go without working on closing that gap, the wider it gets and the more insecure you feel subconsciously. Therefore, obviously, you need to get a clear vision of what the higher self means for you. And this requires some imagination, some visualization. I want you to close your eyes and imagine, just for a second, the most confident version of yourself. The version of yourself that achieves every goal that you set, that can attract all the girls and friends you desire, and that is truly the most positive version of you. What does he look like? What clothes is he wearing? What are his facial expressions? What is his daily routine? What are his habits that he has in place? And create this vision of your higher self as clearly as you possibly can. And then you will notice the gap. And when you paint this picture more and more detailed, gain true clarity on the ideal self, the higher self, you will then gain clarity on the gap. So then turn around and take little actions in your day-to-day life to work on closing this gap. And you may think, oh, I have to reach that version of myself. It's this thing down the line. I'm like on a treadmill. It's a carrot on a stick. No, the moment you start working on closing the gap, you are removing insecurity from the subconscious mind. Because here's the thing, the subconscious doesn't know the difference between an imagined thing and a real thing. That's why making negative jokes about yourself is actually harmful to your identity and mood, because your subconscious doesn't even know you're joking. So you introduced this new identity into your subconscious, and then you take actions that provide justification to this identity. I call it identity cementing. But here's the part that everyone messes up. Nobody does principle 3, and that is step into the higher self. Because you now have a clear vision of who he is, how he dresses, how he speaks, his habits, how he carries himself, And your subconscious is now primed, ready for you to step into that version of you. This is not some future you. This is the version of you that's been floating around, available for you to shift into at any given moment. You just needed the clarity required to do so. So once you have the first 2 principles down, you can step into the higher self now. And I know what you're thinking, but I haven't had all these big accomplishments in my life yet. I haven't gotten a girlfriend. I don't have the friends yet. That doesn't matter because you're thinking about it the wrong way. You become the higher self that gets those things. You do not get those things and then become the higher self. This is because results lag. For example, I would step into the version of myself required for 1 million subscribers, and then later on down the line, maybe 6 months to a year later, I would then hit 1 million subscribers. But 1 million subscriber Kenny was there way before any of that happened. This is what everyone in self-improvement gets wrong, because it's always, oh, becoming this, becoming this, becoming this. You're on a hamster wheel. There's a carrot on a stick and you never really get there. But instead of becoming, just be. Insecure people are quick to disprove any positive thoughts that pop into their mind about themselves. But if you step into your higher self, you can then disprove all of those things because you're providing yourself justification that, no, I am him, I am it. One thing you could do right off the bat is to establish elite confidence, establish elite self-talk. So of course, affirmations don't work for 90+% of people is because deep down, they don't actually believe it. But if you just laid the foundation to have that high level of self-belief, all of those I am affirmations actually work and further reprogram your subconscious mind. I actually started taking this more seriously just a couple months ago when I was traveling. I would even tell myself, I am very articulate. I am a good speaker. I am very confident. I am very charismatic. And of course, I would feel good. I'd go and be comfortable in social situations. But I noticed that my unconscious actions, the things I would say when I'm just in flow state and speaking, my body language, my eye contact, everything would reflect the very affirmations I just told myself. Instead of what the old version of me would do when entering a situation is predict failure and find a way to avoid it, I automatically predict success and find the way to achieve it. And when you're engaging in this positive self-talk, don't make the mistake of saying things like, they will like me. You will say things like, I am extremely likable whether they think it or not. Because like I said earlier, you want internal, not external. And finally, now you can implement all those surface level tactics that everyone talks about, like holding eye contact, being comfortable in silence, having open body language, talking flirtatiously to people, wearing clothes that make you feel good, etc. All the things that your higher self would naturally do. And listen, if you don't step into the hero role of the movie that is your life, you will forever be an extra in someone else's. So if you want to go deeper on a full subconscious reprogramming for things like focus, discipline, and yes, confidence, you can check out Mental Mastery in the description below. But here's the thing, even when you unlock the ultimate trait that is confidence, you still need to know specific social strategies to win someone over. So click the video on the screen right now where I break down psychologically proven methods to make almost anyone like you. Thank you for watching. Bye.